So we can't mess up the plans that God has for us, but we can definitely make it harder, y'all. And so I want to say to you today, if you're a perfectionist, let go of the control. It's driving you crazy and you're not even having any fun anyways, right? And so things don't need to go according to your plan all the time. They just need to go according to God's plan. And that's a surefire thing. It's already said here in the verse. God's purpose prevails, right? And so remembering that simple is sometimes better, messy is sometimes better, because God can do a lot with the simple and the messy. I want to talk about today how the journey to achieving your dreams does not always need to be hard. And struggle is not always a sign of success or toughness, right? And so today's affirmation is I will let things be easy. And we're going to talk about how sometimes we can make things harder than they need to be, all right? And so, first, if you're new here, welcome to this week's live affirmation breakdown. I'm so glad you're here. Drop your name into the chat and where you're from. I know I am streaming to to YouTube for the first time. I was going to do Facebook, but we had technical difficulties. And so if you're joining us for the first time, let me know who you are and where you're from. And while you do that, I'll introduce myself. My name is Jelot Williams. I am a therapist and faith coach and founder of the Liveverse, where I help imperfect Christians like you and me keep our relationship with God simple, healthy, and authentic, so you don't have to feel like you're going through life alone. And I'm so glad that you are here today. So today's affirmation for those of us that just joined is I will let things be easy. And y'all, I know I say this every week, but I'm so excited for this affirmation breakdown. I cannot wait to share just what I've been processing and what God has put into my heart. But I want to share a little backstory about how this affirmation came to be before we get started. And this affirmation was a statement that was told to me by my own personal coach. And for those of you that are wondering, yes, I have a coach. As a coach, I believe in investing in myself. I also have a therapist. As a therapist, I believe in investing in myself, right? So we can't pour out what we're not getting poured back into us, right? And so this was affirmation was said to me because I am the type of person who is a planner, an overthinker, right? Like I need to make sure my backup plans have backup plans. I'm always thinking about how I can prepare for like this obstacle or that obstacle that may happen, right? I'm so in my head all the time that I barely have the mental space to be present with the thing that I'm even planning for, right? So if you're an overthinker like me, this affirmation is for you, and let me know in the chat if you relate to that, because we're going to have a chat today, okay? All right. Let me just make sure we are still live on YouTube here. Good. Awesome. All right, let's see who has joined us. Hi, Kiara. Hi, Tasha. Hi, Connie. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome. So, when we have a hard time letting things be easy, it's usually a sign of one or both of these two things that we're going to talk about today. And the first is it's a sign that we have unhealthy beliefs or fears that are hindering our ability to trust God has got our back, right? And we need to process those fears and unhealthy beliefs, right? So maybe you're the type of person who is scared of easy, okay? Like struggle is what you're used to. Maybe struggle is what your family is used to. You've just known struggle, right? And so the absence of struggle feels scary, right? It's uncomfortable. You don't know what that's like. And it feels like something is off. It feels like you're not on the right track if struggle is not involved, right? And so you create struggle, right? You create barriers and obstacles because that's what you're used to, right? So if it's not there, I'm gonna put it there because that's what feels normal. That's what feels right. Like, where's my all my life I had to fight, fam, right? Y'all know who I'm talking about. Those that are addicted to the struggle, where they'll tell you a story and you'll be like, it really feels like you created that problem, right? And so if that's you, it's okay. There's no shame. Like this is a space where we can get some healing, right? We can get these things out in the open. And I just want you to know that you're not alone. So if you relate to that type of person, go ahead and drop in the chat. Maybe if you don't just relate, if you know that type of person, wink, wink, right? Drop into the chat and let me know, right? Because this belief that struggle is a way of life has us out here questioning everything. So we may have someone who is too nice and we're like, I'm not sure I can trust you because it seems like maybe there's something underlying here. Like things feel too nice right now. Or I broke up with my boyfriend because he was too good to be true, right? How many of us have said that to ourselves where it just feels like things are too easy? It feels like things are going too well. So let me create something to make it not go that way, right? And so we have a way of making things harder than they need to be. And, please hear me out. I'm not ignoring the role that trauma plays in developing unhealthy beliefs and unhealthy reactions, right? But I want to point out that when we let these beliefs go unrecognized and unprocessed, it makes it very hard to let things be easy. Okay. And we will overcomplicate things and self-sabotage ourselves because our beliefs inform how we engage with the world. And a good example is Abraham and Sarah. And for those that don't know the story, I'm going to break it down really quick, but God had promised Abraham that he would make a nation out of him, right? So Abraham, who was around 90 at the time, 90 years old at the time, had doubts, right, about, the likelihood of this happening. But he also had a strong belief that he served a faithful God. Excuse me. So Abraham felt comfortable enough to bring his doubts to God, right? In a previous live, I talked about the importance of being honest with God and why we need to be honest with God. And so Abraham brought his doubts to God and was able to still hold on to the belief, you know what, if God said this is going to happen, I believe that he's faithful. Sarah, his wife, on the other hand, was way past doubt. She held on to the belief that I'm too old, this is not going to happen despite what God says, right? And so when she even laughed when she overheard her husband talking with some visitors about the fact that she was going to have her baby in her old age. And so you have to imagine that at this point, Sarah has been trying to have kids for decades now. So Sarah knows struggle. That is the life that she lived when it comes to trying to have a baby. And so without her having to explicitly say what her beliefs are, we saw it in her attitude. We saw it in the way that she reacted, right? And so it is this belief that leads her to go and complicate things by encouraging her husband to go and sleep with a servant, who then ends up getting pregnant. And then Sarah gets pissed at her husband for getting pregnant with someone else, right? And so y'all see how the whole snowball of complicating things started with the belief, right? And then it led to making things harder than we needed it to be. And, we may read that story in the Bible, we may hear that story in the Bible, think like, I don't do stuff like that. Like, I don't overcomplicate things. Maybe not to that extent, right? But we do it in little ways. We all have some beliefs that go unchecked and sneak up on us in little ways. And that's why I really want us to talk about what this affirmation, let things be easy, means. And so if you feel like you're in a space where like, maybe there are some beliefs I would like to unpack and, change into healthier beliefs, I'm hosting a free 5-day Reset Your Fate challenge where we're going to do a deep dive on our beliefs for this reason. And so you can join by going to theliveverse.com/reset challenge. And I'll also drop it into the chat at the end of this live. So the second sign that I want to talk about is when we're holding on too tightly to our own plans rather than the purpose God has for us, it makes it real hard to let things be easy, right? And so I'm calling out all of my perfectionist friends. If you're a perfectionist, I want you to lean in here. All right. Stop trying to make things perfect all the time. Okay. And, we're so busy trying to get God to assist us as if we're not the ones who's assisting God. You are not the CEO in this situation. Okay. God is the CEO, and I'll prove it. Right. So it says in Proverbs 19:21, we humans keep brainstorming options and plans, but God's purpose prevails. So we can't mess up the plans that God has for us, but we can definitely make it harder, y'all. And so I want to say to you today, if you're a perfectionist, let go of the control. It's driving you crazy and you're not even having any fun anyways, right? And so Things don't need to go according to your plan all the time. They just need to go according to God's plan. And that's a surefire thing. It's already said here in the verse. God's purpose prevails, right? And so remembering that simple is sometimes better, messy is sometimes better, because God can do a lot with the simple and the messy, right? And so we don't have to try to perfect things and make things harder than they need to be because we think that that's the best way things can go. Right. And so I just want to hop back to, the beliefs that we hold on to. Here's another one that's stopping you from letting things be easy. You equate hard work to success. But hear me out. Being busy and struggling all the time does not mean you have good work ethic, right? And it definitely doesn't guarantee success. And I know it's a hard pill for some to swallow. It was definitely one for me. It took me a long time to really understand what that means. And for those that are interested, I did a Bible study talking about what God says about work, right? And so if you want to go watch that later, you can. But real quick, I'll break down some proof as to where this mindset is coming from. And so in Psalms 127, verse 1 to 2, it says, if God doesn't build the house, the builders only build shacks. If God doesn't guard the city, the night watchman might as well nap. It's useless to rise up early and go to bed late and work your worried fingers to the bone. Don't you know he enjoys giving rest to those he loves? And in another translation, it says, in vain you rise up early and stay up late, toiling. In vain. That means you do it for yourself. Like you're doing it for show, whether you do it intentionally or subconsciously, right? Like in vain. You rise up toiling, not even working. In vain, you're toiling. In other words, in vain, you're struggling. In vain, you're working all day long. In vain, you're making things complicated. Why? When I read this verse, or when I read this verse, I was really just thinking to myself, wow, I work myself silly for absolutely no reason. None at all. Meanwhile, God is seeing me bounce back and forth, be busy all the time. And y'all know God whispers. And so God's over here like, hey, 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 I want to give you some rest if you just pause for a moment. Hey, hey, slow down. Yet here I am toiling. When I saw this verse, I was like, ooh, convicted, right? So I want you to know that hard work is not needed to prove that you're tough. And struggle does not have to be a part of your journey. God wants to give us rest, right? And so, with all that being said, how exactly do we let things be easy, right? So, when we affirm, I will let things be easy, like how am I supposed to do that? First, know it's a process. It takes time to unlearn these unhealthy beliefs that we picked up over the years, and these unhealthy habits. And so, if you're just getting started, I encourage you to join the free Reset Your Faith Challenge that I'm hosting. It's starting next week. You can join by going to liveverse.com/reset challenge. And let me go ahead and drop that into the chat now for you all. Um, But yeah, so how do we get started letting things be easy? Jesus gives us the answer for those of us that struggle with letting things be easy in Matthew 11:28 to 29, which says, then Jesus said, come to me, all of you who are weary and carry heavy burdens, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you. Let me teach you, because I am humble and gentle at heart, and you will find rest for your souls. This verse makes me wonder, do we ever get tired of striving and making things hard for ourselves? Because when we do, we'll learn that we don't have to chase our blessings, right? Because God has already said what's for us is for us. And not even you can mess it up, right? That verse I read, God's purpose prevails, regardless of the plans that we make. And so, what if we learn to relax, to chill out a bit and to take up the rest that God is offering us, right? What if finding rest is allowing things to be easy? What if we're able to drop the burdens, right? To drop those unhealthy beliefs, to cast those doubts into God's hands like Abraham did, and he was able to take up rest. Whereas Sarah held on to her unhealthy beliefs and she did not find rest, right? Instead, she found struggle. And so God is saying, here's the rest. Start with rest and you will find ease, right? So don't be like Sarah, y'all. Be like Abraham, okay? And so as we close out today, I want to do our traditional affirmation exercise. And for those that are new, what we do is I will say the affirmation first, and then we will take a deep breath and we'll say the affirmation together. But first, I want you to type into the chat, I will let things be easy, but do not hit enter. Just get it queued up, just get it ready to hit enter, but don't hit it yet. And so I'll give you all a moment to do that. All right. So the affirmation today is I will let things be easy, and we'll take a deep breath. And then you can go ahead and say it together with me. I know I can't see you, but I'm trusting that we're saying it together. So the affirmation, I will let things be easy. And go ahead and hit enter into the chat. TOV fam, I just want you to know that you are so, so loved. And if you haven't registered for the free challenge, I highly encourage you to do that, because we're going to be talking about these mindset and beliefs. And I truly, truly believe that for some of you, the thing that's been stopping you from going all in when it comes to trusting God, or all in when it comes to just loving your faith, it's just there are some beliefs that are just making it hard, right? And so I want to help us get rid of those beliefs. Again, you can sign up at theliveverse.com/reset challenge. I hope that you all have a great rest of your week. I'm loving seeing all the I will let things be easy in the chat. Um, but I hope you have a great rest of your week. And if you're tempted to make things hard again, I want you to just look yourself in the mirror, right? Look yourself in the eyes in the mirror and say, I will let things be easy. You committed to letting things be easy. And what does that mean? Remember, it's starting with rest. And rest can be as simple as like taking a deep breath, right? Taking a deep breath, just pausing, spending some time with God, so you can hear that whisper of him saying, hey, 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 you're doing too much, fam. Like, take my rest, right? So I don't want you to forget to let things be easy. Let me just make sure I have all of the notes that I wanted to share today. For those that don't know, I'm now going live, not just on Instagram, but on YouTube and Facebook. Hopefully Facebook will join us next week. I had some technical difficulties this week. But I'm doing all three platforms. And if you join on on YouTube and Facebook, the reason I'm doing that is I'll be able to share things on my screen that Instagram doesn't let me to do. So it helps with the lives a little bit more. Yeah, I think that's all the updates I have. All right, I will see y'all next Wednesday. Bye. I love being able to connect with you all on a more personal level. I hope you see this affirmation differently now and can begin to apply it to your life in powerful ways. If you enjoyed today's episode as much as I did, spread the love by leaving a review over on Apple Podcasts, or by liking this video and subscribing to the Liveverse channel here on YouTube. To catch the next live, make sure you follow me on Instagram at It's Jalot so you can receive some encouragement in real time. It's a space where you can come every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time and let go of whatever the week has brought you and pick up some hope and encouragement instead. We'll break down another affirmation and share some encouragement that'll help us to refuel to finish the rest of the week out strong. I would love to see you there. Looking for more content while you wait for the next live event? Check out this video right here to help you keep encouraged until next time. As always, you are loved, TLV fam, and I hope to see you again soon.